because you were literally just looking at me.
This way?
Yeah. And we're live. Every time. Thank you to the 3-second delay or 20-second delay. Thank you, Boxcast. We're back. SwitchCast live, coming to you once again via YouTube, Facebook, etc. Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Doug Tabbutt, still the Cannonball Run record holder, still the founder of Switchcars and SwitchCast. And each week we'll be back with a new guest co-host answering your questions, helping you out on your automotive adventures. Tonight, my guest is Dan Doucet. Dan Doucet is a car guy, longtime friend of mine, and he has a ridiculous wealth of knowledge, some in his head, a lot in spreadsheets and on hard drives. And he knows so much that there's a Facebook group dedicated to him called Dan Doucet Knows More Than You.
Courtesy of Bailey.
Courtesy of Bailey Walton, our dearly departed friend.
Departed to Texas, not
departed to Texas. Yes, departed to Texas. I'm sorry. I was trying to make a reference to some obscure band to see if anyone got that, but it's a band that our band, Emily and Ivory, who provides the bumper music, also covers, and one of the songs is Dearly Departed. It's a great song. Anyway, so it's going down a weird rabbit hole. Anyway, Dan, you and I have known each other for
about
at least a decade.
Yeah,
I think
10, 11 years, something like that. Yeah.
Yep. I guess you were a car spotter, for lack of a better term, locally.
Yeah.
That's you were just everywhere. You were at every car event, and
Cars and Coffee Cleveland, like first season.
Yeah, 2009. Yep, back at Key 55. Man, we go way back, and you know so much about cars. So much.
I try.
You try. What do you drive?
Right now, my daily is a 06 BMW 525i with a whopping 229,000 miles on it, and I've had that since 2012.
Wow. And I was joking with you like 8 years ago that you should sell it because it's a BMW and it's going to fall apart. And boy, was I wrong. Dan Doucet knew more than me.
A 98 Land Cruiser with 253,000 miles on it.
Yep.
Which has been featured in VinWiki.
Yes, it has. A sweet Texas find with no rust. That's now
Burgundy.
being driven in the winter. Burgundy, of course, best color for everything.
And a 87 Mercedes-Benz 560 SEL with only 90,000 miles on it.
Except women. Burgundy is not the best color for women. That would be weird. Burgundy is the best color for everything else.
Yeah, I have a green 560 SEL, and also my most recent acquisition is a Krypton green Lotus Exige S. Yes. Long time coming. You also had one of the highest mileage Ferrari 360 sticks that I've seen in a while. Owned it for about 3 years or so, a little over 3, I think.
Did you put that over 50K?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
because it was like 49 or 48 or 49 something when I bought it.
Okay.
So and it ended up being in the 50s.
Yep. Awesome. Get right up to the mic. Fall in love with that thing. Pretend like you swiped right on it and it swiped back.
Boom.
Speaking of, I'm just gonna go right there. Dan is smart. He's funny. He's awesome. Dan is single. So if there are any ladies watching this, swipe right on this cat. But you are active on Blunder and Timble and all of those different apps, right?
Yeah, not as much as I used to be. But
right.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your photo shoot?
Briefly.
Okay. So a friend of mine is a wedding photographer, and we used to still do go to trivia quite often. And of course, Dan Doucet was on our team because he knows more than you and us, and he was just an awesome trivia partner. But he would be swiping to swipe during our...
Yeah, well...
we would be advising you on...
Yeah, and like after we finished trivia, everyone would be like, ooh, I want to play it. And they'd tell me what to swipe.
Girls would come over from other tables, and we'd be swiping left and right for Dan. He'd go to the bathroom. We'd take his phone. It was great fun. Anyway, we thought he needed more booms, so we decided to run a little experiment, and we did a photo shoot here at the shop with some Ferraris and Porsches, a stuffed tiger, and some very provocative outfits, one of which was a one-piece leopard print. It was like was a bouncer, a jumper? It was like a skin-tight jumper that you ordered from China. Yeah. I got to give it to you. You're a good sport. Man, did we have fun. We had the lighting.
Some of those photos in front of the 308 were really good, though. Like, I've considered using those elsewhere.
Good enough for me to post on Instagram tomorrow?
White suit and everything. I don't know about
that. White suit with no underwear. It was not explicit. We just had fun. Let's just leave it there. Anyway, Dan's a good sport. He has a lot of fun. So the question or the topic tonight is production numbers. Dan has 187 spreadsheets with him.
That's what I copied.
How many? Well, that's how many you brought with you. How many VINs do you think you have?
Like total?
Yeah,
in the millions.
In the millions. Gotcha. As many as VinWiki?
I have no clue what their count is.
They have, I think they have 260 million unique VINs now, which baffling, mind-boggling. Okay, millions of VINs, and a lot of them very detailed, especially when it comes to exotics, Ferraris, cars he's interested in, weird oddball manual transmission stuff. So we figured we would help people out tonight in determining how rare their car actually is, because a lot of the stuff they glean from the internet is not correct. Thanks to Dan's help, I was actually able to make my first entry into Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the best, because anyone, anywhere can put in any information they want, so you're getting the absolute most reliable information. Michael Scott. Yeah, so I corrected Wikipedia on the manual transmission Aston Martin DB7 GTs, and I felt really good.
Oh.
But I just got my info from Dan. So the next correction I made was on a Cannonball page. So those are my 2 or 3 contributions to the info web of the world. So we had more questions than I think any other podcast in terms of people wanting to know the production numbers on their cars. Some of them are a little just straight up weird, but we're gonna fire them all at Dan and see if Dan Doucet knows more than you. I know he knows more than me. Maybe not about Porsche GT cars, but he did help me build most of my databases for the Porsche GT cars. So a few of my own questions first before we get into those questions. What made you want to compile all this data, right? So a lot of people just want to own cars. I kind of nerd out when I want to buy a car, so I want to find out what is available or how rare a particular option set that I'm searching after is. But once I buy it, I kind of lose interest, and I was just like, all right, screw it. I want to drive the car. I don't want to keep data. But you are in a constant pursuit of refining your spreadsheets. Yeah. What in the world started that?
What started it?
Yeah.
It came from airplanes.
Okay.
Because I've been a car nut since I was tiny. And an airplane nut even longer. And I found it fun to just try and track down, okay, these are all the airplanes they built of this model. Where are they all? What's still existing? And then after you do it for 15 years, you realize it's no longer a challenge, and I like a challenge. So like a high volume production for an airplane would be like 20,000, 30,000. That is low end on cars. So it's sort of just a challenge of, okay, let me see if I can figure out or come up with a list of something, maybe figure out where they are, maybe figure out stuff like what colors they are, just challenge.
Okay. All right. And how old were you when you started this train spotting for cars?
Elementary school.
Was the internet around then?
It was, but we didn't have it.
Okay. So how did you do it? Books?
Yeah.
Go to the
I
library?
was at the library all the time. Mostly for airplanes back then, but yeah.
I feel like that's where real research happens.
Stack of library cards.
Yeah. Yeah. Kids these days don't know what that is. If they didn't have the internet, they wouldn't know how to do actual research. John Ficarra still knows what real research is. How many books did you bring with you tonight? Obviously, you've got your laptop, but
half a dozen, something like that.
Dan brought books with him tonight, reference books.
In case someone asks the question and I need to pull up a production number I don't have handy.
This is the first episode we've had books on. What's your background just in cars in general? Both of your parents were into cars, correct?
Yeah. Both my parents were into cars like separately before they married, and my dad ended up owning a repair shop, so I was around that all the time growing up. So that really got me into cars. And also, we lived right next to an Air Force base, so that explains the airplanes. So just being around cars constantly when I was growing up led to just getting more and more and more into them and learning more and more.
Do you think you would have been interested in cars if your parents weren't?
Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they probably fueled it. They were the catalyst.
Definitely.
Okay.
Because I got to, crawl around all sorts of interesting vehicles way back in the 90s and all that stuff that's extinct now.
What was the first interesting vehicle? What's like your oldest memory of a vehicle that made an impact on you?
Seeing a Ferrari 308 for the first time that I remember.
Was it real?
Yeah, it was at a car show.
I asked that because I'm pretty sure the first Ferrari 308 I saw in a small town in Maine was a kit car because nobody ever had real anything up there.
Yeah. No, it was a black one, and it was the first one I saw because it was outside the show, and I get into the show, and there's like a few more. And
do you have the VIN number on that car?
No, I don't.
Oh, come on. I thought for sure you would have.
96, I think. Right around 96, so that was, no. I don't even know if I knew what a VIN was way back then.
Gotcha. Do you have photos of that car?
No, I don't. No. I remember another one that made an impact, too. It was right around then. I want to say 97 or something was a Diablo. Seeing that for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
A yellow VT Roadster going through an Arby's drive-thru in my hometown. That's a true story. I was at my grandparents', and my dad rushed over, and he's like, "There's a Lamborghini at the Arby's. Let's go see it." And we did, and it was still there because we're only 2 minutes away.
Did you call Arby's and be like, "Dude, hold the order"?
I remember the license plate though.
Yeah,
it was some form of Cabaret. It was an Ohio plate, shortened somehow. Saw that car a few times back then too. After that,
interesting. Have you ever tracked down the VIN number on that one?
I've tried. Because I've actually gone through my list of Diablo Roadster VINs to see how many have been in Ohio, and there's a couple it could be. I haven't narrowed it down to one, but there's maybe 3 or so that it could be.
Interesting. I don't know why I was thinking of this, but did you know, I think you did know, maybe you don't, there's 5, maybe 6 Burgundy Panos AIV Roadsters, and 3 of them were in Ohio at the same time?
Well, I know there's at least 2.
Well, there's still 2. I had
2.
one of them. But when I had one,
there's
one
in down
Hinckley, and then there's the one owned by
down in Dayton,
Sellers. Yeah. I just thought that was cool. There might have been 4. I don't know. But what's the coolest car you've ever gotten to drive?
Diablo. Easy answer.
Early one?
91, black.
Okay.
Black on black. And it's a friend of mine. And I tell everyone, it fights you in every sense of the word to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. But only for a half hour. Then your body's a little tired. But then give it an hour, you're like, oh, I want to get back in it.
By the way, did you see the 94 Diablo sell on Bring a Trailer today?
No, I didn't.
A regular Diablo.
How much?
$270,000.
Yeah. The one I drove was
not
purchased.
Good for me.
The one I drove was purchased by the owner for, I think he told me, $85,000, and that was not that long ago.
That's what they were going for. Well, their early cars, 94 is arguably the best or the 94, 95s are arguably the best of the Diablos. So the early ones still have a pretty good discount over those, but definitely not 85 grand. What is the craziest anomaly that you've found in your database?
I mean, I've found actual VINs from companies that are wrong. They calculate the VINs wrong. I found that a few times. And
okay, explain that for people who know less than Dan Doucet. What does that mean?
Every VIN, at least now the standardized 17-digit VINs, have a check digit, which is a 9th digit.
Okay.
And it's calculated based on a value assigned to all the other digits, and it's pretty much a check to make sure, okay, this is a real VIN.
Okay, so VIN numbers are not random, right? Every VIN number, every digit in a VIN number means something. The easiest one, as we know, in a 17-digit VIN, the 10th digit is the year. The numbers after the 10th digit are serial numbers that just basically say where it falls within, that production. And the 9 numbers before that actually indicate where the car is produced, what type of body style it is, what engine, transmission, things like that.
And it varies by company.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely varies.
Yes, but there's a standardized way you have to do it. Like the first 5 ones have to be a certain thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 9th digit is a quote unquote randomized number.
Yeah. Randomized meaning it's pretty easy to calculate with Excel.
Right. Okay, so you found where companies have screwed up their own VINs.
Yep. And it's humorous.
All right. What about, like, I don't even know what kind of anomaly, where you, like, have you found duplicate VINs?
Oh yeah, I could tell the story of Ferrari serial 20005.
How did I know you were going to go to Ferrari as soon as I said duplicate VINs?
Yeah, exactly.
They're repeat offenders for that.
Yeah, everyone knows of the, 99999?
The Jacques Swatter Ferrari F50?
So
is that, are there really 2 99999 F50s, or is that just internet folklore?
There probably is.
Probably is too?
There probably is.
Why do you say that?
Just because of just how they operate with that stuff. Like what I learned about this other one I mentioned is like they will sometimes just restamp a VIN plate and put it on a car, even though it's already been used. Probably because they didn't have the record handy for the last one they stamped.
Now, I'm guessing they don't do that with 17-digit VINs, right? Or do they? I mean, those are more traceable.
Yeah, it's a lot more traceable if they're like the U.S. standardized VIN, other than Europe, which is for Ferraris is Z, then lots of zeros and a number. It's a lot easier for stuff to get screwy like that, or pre-standardized 1980 VINs.
Right. Okay. All right. Whose manual Lamborghini production numbers are more accurate? Yours, John Tamarian's, or Ed Bullion's?
Mine.
Okay. That's
and I have talked with both.
That's
about
a bold
this,
claim.
Yeah.
So I know you've had some discrepancies, or your numbers have disagreed with Ed's on the manual Mercies. Has he have his numbers impacted yours at all, or have yours impacted his, or do you both stand by your own?
I stand by mine, and I don't think it's impacted mine because a few that he's posted in the past few years that have come up, I had on my list for years.
Okay. Gotcha.
And some I even had photos of.
Now, did yours impact his list? Like, did you share info with him to?
I gave him everything.
Okay.
I don't know how much he's publicized or not from that, or if he's keeping anything to himself.
Sure.
But he has everything I have on that.
Gotcha. Okay. Ethan, if you're listening, it sounds like Dan got quiet, so I don't know if you want to adjust his. Maybe it's just in my head, but if it's for the general feed, we want people to be able to hear Dan. The other night while we were tasting bourbon, I brought up something car-related, which you'd never heard of, and I was so proud of the fact that I almost posted it in the Dan Doucet Knows More Than You Facebook group. Is that a public group? Can people just go and join it?
I don't know.
Bailey, if you're watching, please make that a public group.
He's watching because he's been texting.
But now I can't remember what it was. But it reminds me of the phrase, which you should use, by the way. I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken.
Wasn't it that dealership in Europe?
Yes, Auto Salon St. Dan Doucet has never heard of Auto Salon St. Which is like, it's still around, but if you were alive and reading DuPont Registry in the 90s or scouring the early days of the internet, it was the original crazy supercar dealer. There's period photos, and it's just like McLaren F1, Mercedes CLK GTR, a couple Carrera GTs, couple Veyrons, like no big deal. Just walk in with a cool $1 million and take your pick. I felt really good that I knew something that Dan didn't, because that was a first. Back to Ferrari. So you're talking about Ferraris reusing VINs or serial numbers. It was certainly true of the early race cars. But they're also notorious for publicizing specific limited numbers of supercars. So, for example, there's 349 F50s, allegedly. There's 400 Enzos, and there's 75 SA Apertas.
Yeah, that was the first one that came to mind, was the SA Apertas.
Okay. I know that the 400 Enzo thing is a crock of BS. I don't know about the F50, if that number is accurate. I know the 75. How off are those numbers? Are they as inaccurate as Ferrari speedometers?
I think the F50 number is actually fairly close.
Dang it. I was hoping there was
and
like
I think
800.
The Enzo one isn't too horribly off. It gets worse as you get newer.
Sure. I've heard 412 and 420 on the Enzo.
Yeah, that's not that far off.
How many VINs do you have?
Well, I just,
for an Enzo?
Right here, I just have US type ones. I mean, book I have has them all, but I mean, I haven't updated this in a while, but I have about 55 or so that have been in the US 5560 F50s at some point.
Okay.
So, and most of those are US spec cars.
Gotcha. How many SA Apertas were there?
What was the worldwide number?
75, I think.
75 or 77 or something like that.
I think it was 75 because it was. I don't know. The number had some significance, but I remember 75.
At least 48 in North America.
Just in North America.
Just in North America. And a rule of thumb with Ferrari is worldwide, North America is a quarter to a third of all production generally. So extrapolate that out, you're blowing that number out of the water. 70, whatever.
Do you mostly have North American numbers, or do you have some worldwide stuff?
Some worldwide. That's been more of consulting projects and stuff. I'll do that because it's a lot harder to track cars worldwide.
Yeah, because I asked you to compile a 997, 996 GT3 RS database worldwide, and you said, like, North America is one thing because the VINs are all somewhat standardized, and it's one system for a large number of production. Same thing with Porsche. They take about a third of worldwide production. But then the last 2/3, maybe a third is in Europe, and then another third is like one in this country, two in that country, and they all use different systems.
Yeah, and like Ferrari for different countries, there's half a dozen different letters they would use for each countries, but then the serial numbers would all be like not sequential at all. So it's doing a worldwide list for Ferraris is difficult, but some people have done that.
Gotcha. What are your other areas of expertise and interest other than crazy production VIN numbers?
You mean car-wise?
Anything.
Airplanes, too.
Airplanes?
I know I've told you before, as much as I know about cars, I know that, if not more, about airplanes.
Yes.
Yeah, someone said fire trucks. That, too.
How much do you know about Mark Spence's beard?
Still learning.
Yikes. How's that discovery process going? All right, we're going to go to a commercial, thanks to our sponsors, and then we're going to come back with some viewer questions. So our venerable Mark Spence and his beard are going to read commercial.
Celebrity Machines is a proud sponsor of SwitchCast. Celebrity Machines offers more than 250 different screen-accurate license plates as they appeared in movies and TV shows like Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, The Fast and the Furious, Breaking Bad, and so many more. Celebrity Machines also makes our dealer insert plates, as well as our commemorative 2539 plates from the fastest Cannonball Run ever. Visit CelebrityMachines.com for more info and use promo code SwitchCast to save 25.39% at checkout.
Thank you, Mark. How about in front of the mic next time? Talking down to it just like you talk down to women.
Wow. No wonder my Tinder sucks.
Maybe we should try a photo shoot like we did with Dan. Are you willing?
I'm willing, but you don't have enough bad 90s cars for me.
It's not about
I got
the
a blazer
car.
and a cowboy hat outside.
And nothing else. All right, Mark, do we have questions from the live feed? I totally forgot. I'm sorry. If you would like to join us, you can call in live 216-294-4124. That's the number to call in. 216-294-4124. Or you can post your questions in the comment flow of wherever you're watching with us live. Mark?
This question is from Daniel BC. Do you still have the 98 Suburban?
No. I actually never had a 98. I had a 95, a 97, and a 99, and I sold all of them. Something cooler is coming in.
Ooh.
I've got to keep people in suspense, otherwise they'll stop watching me.
The next question is from Samuel C. Laurie. W221 Mercedes S65 AMG. How many made and how many for the U.S.?
I actually have some of the info for that.
I'm sure
Look
you
at
do.
that.
And give me just a second here.
Dan,
W221. I don't know the Mercedes chassis numbers. What generation is that?
07 to 13.
07. That's like the most. Is that the most expensive ones ever? That's the one Ed Bullion had, and he said it was the most expensive car ever to maintain that he's had, including Lamborghinis, Range Rovers, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
He sold it for $20,000. I think he just got back what he spent on it in maintenance to own it for like a year.
Okay, what I have for 221 S65s, I have U.S. and Canada data on those. For the U.S., there were 1,546.
Look at that.
In Canada, there were 58. And that's from 07 to 13.
We're going to keep score here.
Did he ask what color? Because I have a color breakdown.
No, he didn't.
Oh.
But what's the rarest color? Because I'm curious.
Androdite green metallic, there's one.
Oh, that makes sense.
And Cavensite blue metallic, there's also one. And that car was for sale recently.
All right, we're gonna keep score here. We got Dan versus the internet. Dan's score is 1. The internet 0. Try again, Sam. If somebody can stump Dan, not that we're trying to be adversarial here or trying to come up with random stupid questions, but if somebody has a legitimate question, stumps Dan, then they might win some free swag tonight. But also, Dan's going to pick the question of the week for whoever gets some swag. So Dan, think about that, and when your favorite comes along, we'll send him a T-shirt. Mark.
The next question is from Daniel Gray. The Audi 220 valve Avant, 1 year only, which was 1991. How many in the U.S.? The question's constantly debated.
Was that a U.S. spec car?
Yeah, I think it only came in the U.S.
Let's see here.
Bring that mic down to you, Mark.
Is that better?
Don't know if I
Now
have
you're
Audi
looking up
numbers
to it.
handy.
I don't look up to anything.
Audi numbers handy.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan, come on. Dan Doucet knows more than you.
It's at home on a different zip drive.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't have that number handy.
I'm going to have to vamp here while Dan looks. The internet. All right,
Yep.
Dan won. The internet won.
I believe it's only a couple hundred, like 100, 200.
I'm going to put Mark Spence over here on the scoreboard. I feel like it's again.
I actually used to know this.
Another Office reference. Dwight Schrute versus the machine or the internet, the website, whatever it was, when he was competing against websites so you can make more sales. I feel like this is what we're doing now. Dan versus the internet. All right, next question, Mark.
This one's also from Daniel BC. Can you talk about early 2000s SUVs like the Cadillac Escalade?
What about them?
Yeah, what about them?
That's just all the question says.
I can talk about them. They weren't as good as 90s SUVs.
I'm a Lincoln Blackwood guy, so.
There is a picture of a Lincoln Blackwood that had the same dang 4.6-liter motor that the Lincoln Aviator had, which were terrible. Still bitter about that one, which blew up at friggin' 60,000 miles. Anyway, I've had a lot of Fords that have had blown up motors. Yeah, there's a picture in the Twinsburg Police Department. Like if you go in their office, whatever, there's a picture on the wall that looks like it's from the 2000s. It's faded and dated, of a Lincoln Blackwood in the median in the middle of a snowstorm on 480, all wrecked. I was like, that's a really random, obscure car to just be hanging in the Twinsburg Police Department.
I'll have one this year.
Yeah, I used
Good for
to
you.
occasionally see them around, but like I haven't seen one in a little while. There's a few bouncing around our area though.
Yeah. They all blown motors. All right, so
That
do you have
probably
the
contributed.
numbers?
Blackwoods?
Yeah. Was that a question?
It was just
Oh,
general.
wasn't it? We just got talking.
I mean,
got
Blackwoods,
lost.
I have
How many Lincoln Blackwoods are there, Dan?
3,356 is the number I have.
Oh, dang it, Dan.
I mean,
Dan, 2.
well, let's not stop there.
Oh,
You mentioned
gosh.
Escalades. First generation Escalades, that, lightly modified GMCs. There's about 52,000 of those. The second generation
Holy cow.
ones, about 210,000 in the U.S.
So the
Yeah.
Blackwood is rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's less rare than a Corvette pace car. That is from Henry Nicholas Collins. That was his comment. Less rare than a Corvette pace car. I feel like we're just gonna use that. We're gonna use that as like the drinking game phrase. So every time somebody asks a question about how rare their car is, we're just gonna say less rare than a Corvette pace car, and you'll have to drink. Just for those of you at home, don't try this with Malort. This podcast is sponsored by anything but Malort. Mark, you got more for us?
Yes. This next question is from Ian Goes to White Castle. How many W124 300 TEs with medium red were built?
I actually think I have that number too.
What's a 124? I don't know
the
my
one I had.
Mercedes chassis.
The one I had. The wagon.
The green wagon.
Yeah.
So like early 90s, late 80s?
124 was 80, mid 80s to mid 90s.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
I'm going to
let's
put
see.
Doug Collum. I'm going to get a half a point for that. Doug. Yeah, half a dash.
Let me see here. What specifically did he ask?
Medium red. MB Tex.
Because I do have all the build sheets for those. I'll say which medium red. Is he talking
medium
587 Cabernet red, 512 Garnet red?
Listen, buddy, your Mercedes is less
not
rare than a
specific.
Corvette pace car.
Let's see if he said 300 TE, right?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that the diesel one?
No, that's gas. So those were 88 to 93. Let's see if his color code is 587. There were 263 in the U.S. If his color code was 512, there are 64 in the U.S. So actually pretty rare. That's those are pretty low numbers.
Good golly. Yeah, but still rarer than a Corvette pace car. Less rare. My Corvette is rare Corvette. Oh, gosh. Mark, fire away.
This is another question from Ian Goes to White Castle. How many?
You gotta find a better restaurant, Ian. Seriously.
How many 96, 97 Lexus LX 450s with factory lockers were made.
Yeah, he posted that last night, and I actually did a little digging on that because I had the numbers for the LX450s. That is, well, let me find that here. LX450s were 96 and 97, and they imported 15,083 to North America. Now, there's a lot of debate online as to the percentage of them that have lockers, and he probably knows what I'm going to say because he knows these. A lot of people say it's like 7% is what Toyota said. It's higher than that. And there's other people debate that say, yeah, it's like 50% of them had lockers on them because it was like just two options for the LX and everyone got them, or dealers all ordered them. So I would guess.
What are lockers?
Differential lockers.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like a trunk thing for the mafia where you could.
So if there's like 15,000 of them, if half of them, and I'd say that probably would be on the high end, if half of them had lockers, you're talking about 7,000, 7,300. Low side, I would say, is probably 30%, which would be about 4,400. So, I mean, you're talking 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. It's somewhere right in there is about how many. It would be my guess.
I'm giving 1 point to Dan and 1 to the internet for that one. Just 4-2 so far.
On to the next one. This question's from Neuron Bob.
Hi,
Number
Bob.
Of opulent blue metallic manual Cadillac CTSV wagons in manual.
In manual.
Yeah.
Very low.
That is a sick car, by the way.
Oh, Doug can look at this.
What?
This is an email I sent to myself. That's your breakdown. So he said,
oh gosh, I'm just giving you a point right now. I can see the numbers right there. You have them.
Yeah, it's the formatting's a little weird, but opulent blue, 2012 to 2014 wagons total. Let's see, sedans, coupes, and wagons.
Mark says 5,
but yeah, it's.
Oh, come on. Buffering.
Yeah.
Buffering. Dan Doucet's mind is buffering.
I think if I'm looking at my jumblish right, 70 of them and 42 were manual. I know I pulled that from somewhere, some forum online.
Yes, I'm reading your spreadsheet the same way you are. Wow.
This is what I do when I get bored. I do stuff like this.
That makes me bored, then that's what okay. Good
Next
for you,
question.
Dan. By the way, Dan, hold on, Mark. Dan was a weather planner, ground crew,
mission control.
Mission control, thank you.
That's a term being used a lot now.
Yes, for our Cannonball runs, both 27-25 and 25-39, and he was excellent at that because of his attention to detail and his passion for this type of data. So it took me a while to get him off his butt and get him to actually do a cannonball. He always wanted to do one. He just needed a little peer pressure, but he finally did one this past year with Ed Bolian and Christopher Michaels in a rental car, and you got 5th place in the musket ball, right? 5th overall? 3rd overall?
Or 4th, right?
4th?
You were 5th, right?
Yeah,
Mark?
by 3 minutes.
4th place overall.
I think I was 4th. You were 3rd.
No, there were. Trying to think who was before us. There were like 3 cars there. We were 4. You were 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was congratulations.
Thank you.
Art Vandelay says his car is quite rare. He has a Aston Martin 177. Yep. Aston Martin advertised that they made 77 of them, but he said 10 prototypes were made, and of those, 4 or so are owned by the public. So the number's probably 5% inaccurate, kind of like Ferrari numbers.
Yeah.
What? Yes, no? Do you know?
Some of the rare Astons, there is discrepancies and stuff, and in both ways. Like they will say, "Oh, we'll make this amount," and they make more. Sometimes they make a lot less. I think I found that with some of the V12 Vantages with manual, which he has one, I think, an orange one.
Yes. Well, it's a wrap.
Okay. Do you know what color it actually is?
Black?
Okay.
Maybe?
Yeah, because I do have the numbers on the V12 Vantages, and that's just a tedious one because there are so many VIN combinations for those. It's unbelievable, and I haven't completely figured out why. But I know for quite a while there were only 2 or 3 177s in the U.S. I think there's a few more now.
Well,
but those were all
more.
Yeah, they were all Euro type cars, but they are eligible under the Show and Display Act officially.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they're all Euro cars. There's a handful around. Production numbers, who knows how many they actually made.
All right. Let's do another here from one of our sponsors, Mark Spence. Take it away. If you would like to call in and join us live on the show, the number again is 216-294-4124. Again, you can also post your comments in the flow of wherever you're watching live. Take it away, Mark.
BoxCast is a live streaming company based in Cleveland, Ohio, and they serve broadcasters and viewers around the world. Their founders launched BoxCast back in 2013 with one purpose: to make people part of the experience. If you're looking to live stream your podcast, church service, car show, sporting event, wedding, or even your cannonball attempt, BoxCast is an easy, flexible live streaming platform for organizations. BoxCast is so easy, we're broadcasting this show with a phone. Head over to switchcast.com/boxcast for your free trial.
Switchcars.com/boxcast. Thank you. Switchcars.com/boxcast. Gus993C2S asks, that's a hint so you know which database to open. How many 96 Porsche 993 Carrera Manuels were made in speed yellow with nephrite green interior, speed yellow rims, and speed yellow dash? I'm going to take a wild guess and say 1.
Yeah, like I was, because a few people were asking about 993s. So I was actually looking up some info last night, and yeah, some of these combinations
I'm assuming it's yellow gauges, not the actual dash.
Isn't that a Bin Laden car?
Weird.
Don't know.
What? The speed yellow with nephrite
You heard a bunch
green?
of really weird ones and never drove them.
Yeah, so the Sultan of Brunei. Mark, I'm going to give you a half a point down here for isn't that a Bin Laden car? You and I are tied at a half a point each. Oh, wait, no, I think you get one earlier for the I think there's 200 of something. All right, the current score is Dan 5, the Internet 2, Mark 1.5, and Doug 1. No, I get a half a point for my guess if there's one 96 Porsche 993.
Yeah,
but it's less rare than a Corvette pace car. Do you have any idea on that, Dan?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't have what version 993?
Well, he said 96. I don't know why the year matters, but
yeah, I have stuff on like Turbo S's.
Okay, next one then. Nick goes fast. I have 2 Saab Viggens with flame ochre interior, 1 convertible and 1 3-door. How many of each of these were made for the U.S. market?
I'll flat out say I don't know.
Oh, no. The internet
Because
got a point.
I was trying to figure that out last night, and I've seen the photos of his cars, and that is a gorgeous interior in my opinion. But yeah, Saab numbers there's a certain website that has production numbers and colors, exterior colors, but that's it, and I don't know if you're ever going to find anything else because of the status of Saab.
Right. That is a real Saab story. Do I get a point for puns? I do? I get one nod, one shake. Peanut Gallery, do I get points for puns? Yes. All right. That's 2. All right. What do we get? What does the winner get?
Shot him alert.
Dan's gonna submarine his own answers to make sure he doesn't win. Joe asked, clipping there. Joe asked if you can answer this or care to answer this, what your data sources are.
A lot, and it's different for every single company, and even within that, sometimes the model of car. Okay. So I can't give a direct answer, but it's a lot.
Expand on what you can. Give me a couple examples of how you've procured data.
There's a few companies that I've been able to pull actual build sheets.
Okay.
And it's a lot easier with German companies. I'd say I can leave it at that. You can guess which ones. You know which ones for some. But
right.
They are far more meticulous about keeping records and having them accessible to people.
Why are they accessible?
Don't know.
I would think that'd be something they wanted to keep private, but
yeah, I mean, there's some restrictions, and it's gotten a little harder to do the past couple years, but the data is all there. And if you can get to the right person or talk to the right person, you can get it.
What is, I don't want to say the most difficult, because the most difficult would be the one you don't have, but what is the set of data that you're most proud of, that you're like, this is impossible to get, nobody else got it or has it or figured out how to get it, and you have it?
Well, today, the answer to that question would probably be my Mercedes-Benz W126 database.
Okay.
Which is complete for North American cars, and it's a good chunk of complete for worldwide cars. But
how many? Like you have build sheets for all of North America?
Yeah, I have build sheets for all of them.
How many is that?
120, 130,000.
Holy cow. 130,000 build sheets.
Yeah, that's just the 126s.
Good golly. Have you looked at all of them?
It's a lot of searching and a little help from things, but yeah. I mean, I've been able to get from them full color breakdowns and options for all of the different models, yeah. But that one, I'd say, like a lot of these questions people are asking, no, I can't necessarily answer off the top of my head because some of this takes time. And that one took 3 months, I think, of sporadically working on and off. A lot of weekends of me just cranking away at stuff 12 hours a day, parsing through everything.
Are you ever going to publish that information?
Don't know.
On Dan Doucet Knows More Than You.com. Membership fee $20.
Yeah. But like it started because I bought a 126, and it's like, oh, I want to know, not just stop it. I want to know how many of mine there are, how many of all of them there are. So of US spec 560 SELs in my color, which is 254, dark green, there's I think 58 were imported to the US, and of that about half of them have the same interior as mine. So, yeah.
I'm giving you a bonus point just for that. That's awesome, because I guarantee you the internet doesn't know that.
Yeah, no, those numbers don't exist on the internet.
Gotcha. From Mr. Oscar May, I wonder how many Lamborghini Diablo VT 6.0 in right-hand drive were ever made. Well, Dan probably has the U.S. numbers, so
yeah,
can't answer that question. Okay, how many left-hand driver, how many U.S. 6.0s are there? Let's answer the question he didn't ask.
Let's see, Diablos.
Especially silver with black interior. Silver is a super rare Lamborghini color.
There's around 150 VT 6.0s in the U.S.
Gotcha.
For the U.S. market.
Are there how many silvers?
I mean, let me see here. I'm guessing by silver he's including titanium, which is sort of a silver gray. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there's a few.
No.
Yeah, the titanium was a pretty popular color for the 6.0s. So I'm going to say, I don't have the colors for all of them, but you're talking 150 cars.
All right, our call screener isn't doing our job, so we're just going to play Russian roulette and see who's on the phone here. Who's there?
What's up? What's happening?
Oh, hey, Ed. How's it going?
It's good. You got Ed Bolian and Christopher Michaels fresh off of vandalizing 250 speed limit signs in Athens, Georgia. One of the best days of my life.
What speed limit? Are you doing the 55s again?
Back to our roots.
Are you ever going to do the vandalized 55 patches for me?
Yep. Yeah, we're on that.
Good.
Supply chain issues and all. Whatever excuse I need to make up right now as to why I've totally forgotten about your request.
Okay. Well, I'll order 2 of them at MSRP.
Oh, there you go. Well, the first 2 are the real expensive ones. The rest of them are pretty reasonably priced. I don't know why.
I didn't say I wanted the first 2. I just want 2.
Well, we fulfill them as the orders come in, so we do what we can.
Right. Okay.
And despite me claiming to be a professional artist, Ed was much better at getting the sort of salacious, drippy splatter of the red X than I was. So he's an undiscovered artist.
Ed is more in touch with his female in a skin-tight catsuit than you are. Just put it that way.
Are you implying that I'm also in touch with my female side in a skin-tight catsuit?
We didn't even tell him what we were wearing.
Yeah, well, we were doing the full regalia, blue and fuchsia, Catherine Bach Farrah Fawcett jumpsuit. It seemed only appropriate.
Pictures or it didn't happen? Pictures with metadata.
Don't tempt me. When I got sweaty, you could see right through it.
Oh, me. Are y'all having a jolly old Ben nerd-off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dan claims his Lamborghini numbers are better than yours.
Well, better is in more people have read his.
Listen, lots of people have read Fred Ashmore's story, but that doesn't mean it's accurate.
But
things happen. What 134 US 6.0 VINs, by the way.
U.S. only?
Yeah, US only.
Oh, Ed knows it off the top of his head. Dan's got to look at his spreadsheet.
I got 152.
Oh.
What do you say?
I got 152.
152. Well, that doesn't count that Dan Doucet I made them up by running algorithms against theoretical VIN numbers.
Have you run the Carfax on all of them to confirm they exist?
I haven't got to the 6.0s. I actually did a lot of the early Diablos, so.
All right, Ed, I'm giving you a half a point for knowing it off the top of your head. I'm giving Dan a point for having more VINs than you.
Oh, there you go.
What year was the first VIN?
Of the 6.0s, they were all 01.
Oh, just in general, like just thinking of VINs. When did VIN
1980?
Yeah, the standardized was 80 or 81, depending on the company. 81, it became pretty universal.
Okay.
I get half a point for that because I answered first.
All right, well done. Now, I know there were serial number standards back into the mid-'50s, but what did car manufacturers do prior?
Whatever they wanted.
In 1928, just anything. All right.
Whatever they wanted. Yeah. And that's what.
Dan, how many manual 640 VINs are you up to?
I don't think I've added
More
any.
than you. No.
Yeah. Let me pull that up.
Ed, I know it's hard for you because Dan is devaluing your cars by having, significant percentage more production.
Not that much different. Our numbers are pretty close now.
Yeah,
I think.
but 2 out of
That
like
is a lot of
30. That's like 8%.
Let's see.
That's true.
Come on, Dan.
Yeah, I'm trying to add these up here real quick.
Oh, come on. Should have them in your head.
Let's see. I think I have 33 total.
33.
Coupe and Roadster.
But a couple of those have no records at all, right?
No, they all have some records.
They all have evidence of existence?
Yeah.
Ed, how many do you have?
I have 23 and 10.
31.
23 and 10 is a split I have Coupe Roadster.
I have 21 and 10.
Okay, so 2 coupes is are different, and that's it.
Yeah, 2 coupes.
So in the scheme of things, that's super close.
But a lot of your estimations are based on like VINs that could have been allocated but not necessarily were, right?
Not necessarily, no. There could be theoretically thousands of possible VINs. But these are ones that actually had something behind them, enough for me to add onto the sheet. So enough to give me proof of, yeah, this exists somehow, and it's not a fluke.
Well, I'll have to find the 2 that I don't have and see if there's a compelling case for their existence, and then we'll have to go use Doug's money to buy them.
What is it? Murcielago LP640?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, 642.
If it was a missing 6.0 Diablo, then sure. But
I mean, to be honest, if there are two discrepancies here, there probably have been exported to China years ago or something like that, and are long gone.
But they still existed. I feel like I want to give you a point for every VIN number that you have that Ed doesn't.
Who's keeping track of points? How many points is Dan up to?
Dan has 7. I have 2.5. Mark has 1.5. You have 1/2. The internet has 3, and the Peanut Gallery has a gold star.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're not sure what we
Well,
win.
you're solving the world's problems tonight.
It's kind of like the Cannonball. We have no idea if it's worth it or not. We don't win anything.
Yeah, I'll bring up an interesting discrepancy here that this is reminding me of, at least with the Diablo 6.0s.
Okay.
Is of Lotus, I think the 2011 Lotus Elises and Exceges. Like, Lotus has published numbers. I can guarantee you there's a lot more than what they say because I have the Carfaxes to all of them. And, like, it's blatantly their numbers wrong, which is interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to give Lotus a -1 over here.
Dan, is that for the Exceed 260s?
I think that the ones I'm thinking of off the top of my head are for the 11 Elise Rs and Elise SCs. Those are like not even close.
Like,
do you think the numbers on the 260s are real? That there's only 60 US Gen 2 cars?
Yeah, those are pretty close. Now that I'm thinking about it a little more, the Exceed numbers that are known are very close. Like, I think a handful of the different models years I have are spot on with what's published, and some are maybe 1-2 off, but that's about it.
How many of the discrepancies, because I've seen this within Porsche, is Puerto Rico and Mexican cars and or like UAE cars? Because those all have North American VINs, but they're not considered part of the allocation, but every now and then they just show up.
Yeah, and that's a tough one that varies by company and how they do it. Because you'll have, Porsches. I can usually pick out a lot of the times the Puerto Rico cars.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, Ferrari, unknown. Lotus, unknown. They're all just completely lumped in. There's nothing to really tell them apart.
Right.
And Middle East with Ferraris, I know, is very similar to that, too.
Yeah, they have North American VINs.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Dan, how many Enzo VINs do you have?
Oh, let me see.
I think I asked him that earlier. His answer was not as awesome as I hoped.
I don't
it was.
watch this show. Sorry.
I don't watch your show either.
Yeah, and let me see what I have for at least Enzos in the U.S. And this is one
Carbon has like 412 or 420. How many does he have, Dan, Ed?
They said they made 401.
What does Carbon say?
Carbon's in the 520 zone.
Okay.
What?
That doesn't surprise me.
Holy cow.
And my data here for Enzos, at least in the U.S., is like 5 years old now, but I had about 120 something in the U.S. at that point.
U.S. cars?
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
There's I think there could be as many as 150 more than Ferrari said.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Ed, you get another half a point for knowing what Carbon said. You're up to a full point.
Oh-ho!
And Carbon got a blue ribbon.
And I don't know if anyone
go.
else here knows who Carbon is outside of me and you and Ed.
134282,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Carbon McCoy is the U.S. Marcel Massini, but not as well known. He has ridiculous amounts of history on Ferraris and their VIN numbers. And, yeah.
Yeah, but he's limited to only Ferrari.
That's all he cares about, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
But I've talked to him before a few times, and we've shared some info between us.
Nice. All right, Ed, Chris, thank you for calling in. I hope the rest of your drive goes well. Keep it under 100. And Chris, do you want a point on the board?
I would love a point on the board, but all I really got to offer is one of my best friends is an FBI agent, and I was buying a Harley one time. I was trading an engagement ring that didn't get used to a guy for a Harley, and the VIN was not a correct Harley VIN. I called a friend of mine in the FBI to check it out. It turned out it was part of a sting they were in, and he had this complete panic meltdown. He was like, "Walk away. Don't call me. You're going to throw the whole investigation if you call me." He had this complete panic meltdown, and I literally stumbled into an FBI sting that involved a friend of mine just trying to trade a ring for a psycho stripper that I never gave her for an old Harley. That's all I got to offer for a point on the VIN story.
Coulda, woulda been a wipe at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, you got an honorable mention.
What wife?
All right, that's all I got.
That's the best anecdote we've had so far. We're going to go back to silly questions about numbers. All right, thanks, guys. Good to hear
Y'all
from
have
you.
a good night.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
Hope to see you
Have
soon.
a good night, Doug. Good to talk to
See
you.
you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, back to you, Mark. What do we got on the live stream? Hold on. We need to update the scores and also refresh on the call-in number. If you'd like to call in, the number is 216-294-4124. 296-294-4124. The current score is Dan 7, the Internet 3, Mark 1.5, Ed 1, Chris has an honorable mention, Lotus is -1, Doug has 2.5, and Carbon has a blue ribbon. And the Peanut Gallery still has a gold star.
The next question is from Czech Per. What are the production numbers for the Copenhagen Blue 1984 Porsche 944 with the sunroof, the rear wiper delete, and the M456 suspension?
Yeah, see, this is one of those questions that
Gosh.
you need.
It's
the
less
build
rare.
sheets.
No, it's less rare than a Corvette pace car. Moving on. that is getting into Corvette rare right there. Seriously.
there were-
Oh, mine has a rear window wiper. It's one of 7 with a rear window wiper.
Yeah,
That's
there were a few of those comments I noticed.
Yeah. Okay. All that to say, Copenhagen Blue is killer rare on any 80s Porsche because they're all red and black. So whatever, it's rare, but it is less rare than a Corvette pace car. So
Next question from Matthew Bogert. Porsche Cayenne base V6 with a manual transmission. How about specifically 2005?
Give me a second here because I have an answer for that.
I bet you
my
do.
God.
I bet it's something like 45 because who wants to order that?
He says specifically 05. How about we?
who cares about the year?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go pre-facelift because I do have build sheets on all these too, so I could narrow them down to year, but we'll go pre-facelift. So
It's
like
fine.
When I had mine, you didn't tell me you had my
The
numbers.
difference between an 04 and an 05
you
doesn't
didn't have a
matter.
manual.
Oh, well, whatever.
The numbers were too big.
So the pre-facelift first gen Cayenne manual, 205 in North America.
What? Bam.
Did he say a color? No.
No.
Okay.
All right. Here's a good one. How many Magno Allanite Gray CLK 63 Black Series were produced? My answer was 0.
One. It
One.
was one. He has it.
He has it right?
Yep.
He's 1.
It
Do you
was-
know that?
Yeah, it's on my sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
It's
like, you don't win because the internet knew that too. So, I can't give anybody any points for that. 2011 Silverado LTZ 71 extended cab in blue granite metallic. I don't know. I saw 3 on the construction site last week.
Well, here you go. I saw that comment, so I actually made an estimate at it.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No, that comment annoyed me enough that I sat down for like 10 minutes and figured it out. So an estimate on that, he said an 11 Silverado LT with Z71 package extended cab in blue granite.
Oh, my gosh.
2011, they sold about 415 Silverados in the U.S. About
415,000.
About 4.8% were LTs with Z71 packages. Of those, 38% were extended cabs, and of those, 62% were blue granite, which gets you about 4,750.
I wasn't even listening to the numbers. It's still less rare than a Corvette pace car. Dan, you get a point.
4 to 5,000.
Golly.
Every dealership got at least one.
Luxury SoCal real estate. I own a gated 6-speed US spec 355 GTS with the unicorn carbon fiber sport seats. Darn right. By the way, I totally creeped on this guy's profile because I wanted to know what the exterior color was, and I couldn't even find it. He had too many pictures of his Citroen. I've been trying to find a 355 with the carbon seats in a manual. I really want a GTB, though. Do you know that number, Dan?
Well, I know US spec GTSs, I have around 320 or so.
Manual or total?
No, total.
How many manual?
Of those, about 3/4 of them are manual. Is the estimate. So you're talking probably around 250 GTSs with manual in the U.S.
Okay.
Now then you go carbon sport seats.
That's 5%?
Yeah. I was trying to spitball a number last night, and I'm like, it's got to be probably 5% or less. So you're talking, let's say you're at 5%. So that's a maximum of 12.
Cheapers.
So I mean, narrow that down to.
I don't need that. Just
narrow that down to color, and you're talking, one of one.
Stop. I don't want to know how hard my unicorn is to find.
But that was GTS. You want to be; those are a little more common.
Okay. Bailey from Texas is asking about a car. Hi, Bailey. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Good. How's Texas?
It's not too bad. I was kind of expecting King of the Hill style, but it's actually pretty big city down here.
Did you have to get unvaccinated to go into Texas?
Yeah. So we both showed up vaccinated, and they threatened to kill us, so we had to spit it back out.
You have to join the Canadian Truckers Convoy Facebook group. Okay, I'm going to stop. Have you put Bailey's in your coffee down there yet? Are you having any get-togethers?
No, I am a loner, and I barely made any friends yet.
I doubt that.
You made friends with the people that helped move you in, I know.
Oh, yeah. Those kids were cool.
All right, Bailey, what's your question for Dan Doucet Knows More Than You?
Yes. So, I was wondering, how many Maserati MC12s are in Ohio?
Dan's on Wikipedia. He's cheating.
Well, no, I was getting the total. His answer 1.
How many are in Ohio?
1. Yeah, because they were.
Do you know how many are in the?
I can ballpark that because they're all Euro cars.
Into the mic, Dan.
I'm thinking.
Think into the mic.
Probably 15.
15
be my
in
guess.
the U.S.?
Yeah, it's somewhere around. I know at one point I did try to dig to figure that out, but gave up because that was hard to do. Well, you know what? Let me just see if I have anything, though, because there's always a chance I do.
Good God.
No, I don't have anything handy for that. But yeah, I would guess, 10 to 20 of them probably. But yeah, there's only 1 in Ohio currently.
Great. Well,
Sweet.
Bailey, thank you for the question. Thanks for the call. Enjoy Texas, and come back and see us soon.
I will.
All right.
Will do. See ya.
Talk to you.
See ya.
All right, we're going to try a rapid fire through some of these here.
Oh, boy.
If you can pull up your spreadsheets quick enough. Austin Murray 4 would love to hear about the Saab 9.2X and 9.4X. They're Saabs. What do you want to know?
Yeah, I'd say 9.2X or 9.4X. I can give numbers on 9.2Xs because those are available online. They gave production numbers 9,292 9.2Xs in the U.S. But there's breakdowns online of manual, auto, linear, aero, all that. So those are published. The 9.4Xs, on the other hand, are not published. I've seen a few different numbers as far as how many they've made, how many they've sold. I came up with 613 to North America of the 9.4Xs. So you're talking maybe, and I think I may be missing a couple of them, so probably about 620 9.4Xs to the U.S., which puts it as one of the rarest actual volume production cars sold in the past 30, 40 years in the U.S.
From Connor, I'm just shaking my head. From Connor, how many 2008 Audi TT 3.2 coupes came with a manual?
This is one I actually did an estimate on too, because I saw his post last night. So 08 TT 3.2 coupe manual. In 08, they sold, or they produced 7,925 TTs for the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
About right around half of them were coupes, so right around 50%, which would be around 4,000. And of those, a percentage of manuals, I would spitball around 475 manual of your spec in the U.S.
Julian Higgins is excited to see Dan on the show. So am I. What were the numbers on a 1984 Jeep Cherokee Pioneer 4-wheel drive with a 2.5-liter i4 automatic with cinnamon brown interior? Julian, it's less rare than a Corvette pace car. I got half a point for that.
I actually tried to dig a little bit on this because he mentioned the interior, and you cannot find a good list of interior colors for like 80s Jeeps and AMCs out there.
I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah. But 84 Cherokees, they produced 58,596 of them for the U.S. They were all 4-wheel drive and all had the 2.5 that year. So that makes that easy. I'd guess about 2/3 are automatic transmissions, or 2/3 to 3/4. So you're talking 40 to 44,000 vehicles there. So of 40,000, how many?
3,900 are rusted out. Yeah. All right, moving on.
And if I had to spitball the interior color, I would say 10 to 20% have that interior
Let's
color.
try something obscure / a setup. How many rear-wheel drive manual 97 Diablo VTs in the U.S.? I didn't like this question, right? Diablo VT. VT literally stands for viscous traction.
Yeah, that was their note for all-wheel drive.
Right. It means an all-wheel drive VT. And he says, how many rear-wheel drive / manual? Well, they're freaking all manual, right? Yes. They didn't make automatic Lamborghinis.
Now,
but how do you have a rear-wheel drive VT?
Okay, I actually thought about this a little bit, and I'm wondering if the car he's thinking of is a 96. And I say that because in 96, they imported about a dozen Diablo coupes to the U.S. And by that time, most of them were VTs. But for whatever reason, the last year of those early Diablo coupes, about half of those dozen were non-VTs. They were rear-wheel drive cars. So there's a statistically large number of 96s that were rear-wheel drive.
Did they call them VTs, though?
They're just Diablo.
Okay, so he said there was 12 produced for the Lamborghini Club of America as a final send-off of the manual and rear-wheel drive combo, as Lambo is supposedly never going to... I don't believe that, because the SV, which started in 96, was a rear-wheel drive Diablo.
I'd say, actually, I talked to someone else that is here that saw this and searched themselves and couldn't find anything about that online.
Because they were very adamant that I was wrong, in so many words, kind of an idiot, for stating that that was a trick question because there can't be a rear-wheel drive VT, because VT means all-wheel drive. It's literally talking about the viscous coupling in the all-wheel drive system. Like, that's what it's named for.
And he doesn't mention coupes per se in that, but there were no 97 coupes to the U.S. They ended in 96 and then skipped your SVs and your 99s and stuff. But yeah.
So what is this Lamborghini Club of America thing?
I don't know if it exists.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if the car he's talking about is one of the 96s, because that fits a number of the things he
said
mentions.
12.
Yeah,
but they weren't designated
I have
VTs.
12, and of those I have... Of those 12, I have 6 of them were non-VT cars, which is odd. But they were not VTs, and actually one of those 6 is in Columbus, Ohio.
Gotcha.
And
you're saying there's no 97 VTs for the U.S.?
Only Roadsters, not Coupes.
Okay.
Yeah,
there's
plenty
97.
plenty
you
of
could get an
Roadsters.
SV, a Roadster, and
In the U.S., just the Roadster.
no 97 SVs are in the
98
US.
and 99 SV.
No 90. What?
Yeah, 98 and 99. Yeah, the 98s for the pop-ups, 99s for the
I know that, but I thought you could get 97 SVs in the U.S. also. So 96 and 97 were Europe only. So there's 2 years of production in Europe.
Yeah, no,
that they didn't come
and
to the U.S.
And I remember when that was actually happening. Of going, when is this SV going to be available in the U.S. and seeing it on TV and in magazines, and it took a while.
Okay. All right. I'm giving myself half a point for not being an idiot. 1986 Nissan Fairlady Z200 ZRI 2+2 and super white
That's
over
JDM
gray.
stuff.
Okay. No. Curious Joe Sisti says he's curious about how many gated manual Ferrari Californias were made. 3?
Nope.
Ah, dang it. Thought I knew the answer to that. How
There's
many?
at least 4 confirmed, possibly up to 6.
I was close enough. I bet you Ferrari's official number is 3.
They don't have an official number. You know that.
Okay. 4 to 6.
The number was 3 for quite a while, and our friend Carbon found at least proof of 1 more.
Oh.
And there's rumors of, yeah, I'd say give him some credit there.
All right, he has a blue ribbon +1 now.
But none of those were U.S. as far as I'm aware. They're all Euro cars.
Right. Yeah. That would be a cool car. That would be a really cool car. How many manual with no sunroof BMW M240i were built for the North America?
That's one of those Uber specific ones. I did ballpark that number. M240i's. They're about 7,500 to the U.S. Of those, about 600 manuals would be my guess, and of those, about 80 slick tops. So about 80-ish.
Ryan Hempel asked, this is a good one.
Yeah, it is. And I'm actually really curious about the answer.
Oh, you
to
don't
this.
know.
I
How
don't
many
know.
Type 170 post-war diesel cabriolets were manufactured by Mercedes, and for whom were these diesel cabriolets produced? I had to ask it because he hashtagged it, come on, Dan.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that he's referring to R107s, like SLs. And that they actually made diesels on those.
Interesting.
Which it would be somewhere, I mean, maybe not, but I would think it'd be somewhere overseas. I know they built some 107s down in South Africa and stuff like that, so it could, and he said who for as well, which immediately my mind went to the Sultan of Brunei. But at least I'm, based on what he commented, I'm thinking he's meaning diesel-powered R107s.
Gotcha.
Which I couldn't find anything online other than just swaps and people ragging on the people doing swaps, saying, what are you doing?
Probably, I like this one. 2008 Volvo C30 T5 2.0. Would be neat to know how many of them actually came to North America.
Yeah, I did a quick estimate for U.S. I know he mentioned Canada, I think, specifically. Was that one?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't have time to really ballpark a number for Canada, but it'd ballpark a number for U.S., so you could take that and divide it by whatever.
10.
Yeah, probably. 08 C30 T5 version 2.0, which I'm pretty sure is what he's referring to. In the U.S., they imported 5,865 C30s in 08, and if I had to guess, I would say around 1,050 of those were the version 2.0s. So about 1,000, so 1,000 times whatever percent gets you Canada, so not a lot.
Sir, Mr. Doctor, 2004 BMW X3 3.0 with a manual trans. I've done every ounce of research I could, and I've hit a wall. I've contacted BMW and been on every forum. My best guess is less than 300.
Okay, this one actually intrigued me a bit.
Right.
I was thinking about it a bit
challenge.
today because it was a challenge, but it was a challenge that's doable. Now, I don't know if he's referring to world or U.S., But I do have numbers for the U.S. as of today.
Let's say
figured
it's
it
the
out.
U.S. All right.
So if it's U.S. X3 3.0i's with a manual, in 04 there were 1,379. In 05 there were 821. In 06 there were 574.
Man, he was hoping less than 300. Shoot, it's definitely less rare than
I
a Corvette
actually,
pace car.
I mean, I came across just doing some digging in about 15 minutes. I came up with photos of probably 20, 30 of them. Easy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sen Scoobies wanted to know how many wintergreen metallic over tan 2001 manual transmission Subaru Outbacks
I
without
saw this
sunroofs
one.
there are.
I just saw
I don't
this
know
and
how many
ignored
they
it.
are, but they're all in Vermont. Dan is amazing. He's from the Total Tom Cars. Dan's amazing. He shared with me my R63 AMG production numbers. Such a nice guy.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
is.
has one of, I think, 2 in his color.
Golly.
Like, period.
Chef Brett Stevens asked, how many autumn gold Volvo 850s were produced for 1996?
Give me a second here.
Next, another question while we're reading it. What?
145.
145. Gosh darn it.
And he'll know where I got that from if he's asking it.
Oh, was it from the internet?
Yeah, there's
All right, I'm
one.
giving a point to you and the internet.
That's a cool color, too. I didn't realize that color existed.
What was production for the Great Wall Motors Volix C20R?
Chinese built, and they sold them in China and Russia and in Europe a little bit, as I found out. Actually, not that common. 28,000 at least.
Good golly. I don't even know what the frick that is.
It's a crossover variant of the C10.
The C10 pickup truck?
No, the Great Wall, whatever C10. Great Wall's an interesting company. They make some weird stuff.
Jackboy 491 Cadillac. Where do you come up with this? I didn't know Chinese made cars. I thought they just imported Buicks. Cadillac
Cadillacs.
ATS-V Championship Edition 6-speed manual.
Yeah, from what I could find on that, 32 white, 30 black. Like, they said they were going to make a lot more, but I couldn't find anything else that they've made more than 62.
Rob is a car guy, said, would love to hear some of Dan's knowledge on North American NSX production. Lots of fun Easter eggs of rarity, especially after the 95 model year. I've said for years how rare the pop-up headlight NA2s are, and I personally have a black tan at 98 NA2. Props to Dan if he knows these numbers.
5 manuals, 1 auto. He probably has a manual. And with NSXs, there is a lot of data online, and you can pretty much find all these numbers. And he'll know exactly where I got that number from.
All right, I'm giving the internet a point, too.
Back in the days when you could actually get Honda numbers
How many of the
easily.
Midnight Purple Pearl ones were there?
I don't have that handy, but that's available online easily.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Joey Korger is curious how many manual Volvo S60Rs were made.
This was another interesting one because there are fairly good details on V70Rs, but not nearly as much on S60Rs. So I had to do a little estimating, and I estimated about 9,700 S60Rs came to the U.S., and of those, around 56% were manuals, which puts you around 5,400.
Wow, that's quite a few, actually. That's more.
Yeah, it was
I
more
would
than the
guess.
V70s.
Gotcha. I wonder how many Guards Red 98 993 C2S were built. Only 400 roughly were made in 98. Yes, you are correct. Been curious how many of each color 993 were made in 97, 98.
About 10%, I'd say, are red.
Yeah.
Is my guess looking at some 993 numbers I have.
James Greg Webb asked, how many North American 07 Land Cruisers were made without AHC? What's AHC? I don't even know.
That was a suspension thing.
Gotcha.
It was supposedly standard 06 and 07, but some special order ones may have trickled out. And you wouldn't be able to track that out unless you had the full build sheets from Toyota, which you can't really get. But I could throw out, because I have the numbers in Land Cruisers. Let me see here. He says 07 is last year.
07
Well, it's like mine.
Without it. Yeah.
It's same generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the last. Mine's the first year. His was the last. 07s. I have 2,173 Land Cruisers to North America. I mean, if you're talking special order ones, because there are a few special order colors and weird specs, I mean, less than 100. Easy, I would say.
How many U.S. spec facelifts, so 2013 to 14 Audi TTS coupes in Samoa orange metallic were there?
That would take me a little time to figure out. Didn't even see that one yet.
Dan, -1. Mark, what do you got for us in the live stream? Mark is swiping over there.
I was hindering. I'm sorry.
He really was. Golly.
This one's from Henry Collins. How many McLaren 720s in Memphis Red were built?
Too many. No, I'm just kidding.
Give me just a second.
That's a good color. Not the best car ever, but good color.
Yeah, a question, though, about an exotic car here. There's a lot of questions about just BMWs and stuff. But.
Late model BMWs. They're less rare than a Corvette pace car. Get over it.
Now, this is one I don't have complete data because, like, they were still, like, making them until recently, 720. So it's sort of a not... I don't know if they've finished production 720s yet or not, but if not, it's a still growing number. But I had up through early 2021, there were, in the U.S. and Canada, North America, there were about 1,400 coupes and about 800 spiders. And of those, let's see here. You said Memphis Red?
Yes.
Let's see, I don't have complete color breakdowns, but I can estimate based on what I do have. I have 50, but I still need a lot. So let's see here.
I feel like I need
Coupes,
to sing a song.
Coupes, I would say about 125. So probably a little more since they're still making them. So maybe 150 or so.
That's
Memphis
amazing.
Red Coupes.
All right.
I could do the same with spiders too, but that's just dead time.
Couple more. We don't have time to get to all these questions, but Mark, pick two more of your favorites.
What has Mark been talking about all day?
Sterlings. Sterlings.
I got
somebody
this weird
else asked
obsession
about
with buying
Sterlings.
Sterlings. And I find it pathetic there's no Facebook group for that car brand.
It's a subgroup of Dan Doucet Knows More Than You.
I got a Sterling kit car at work. And I find
Nikito's
those all
Autos
day.
also asked about a Sterling American Market Rovers.
Yeah, that was a complete coincidence. He asked about that, and then Mark was like texting all of us all day, like, I want a Sterling. So he wanted me to talk about Sterlings.
Yeah.
So they imported 33,802 of them to the U.S. I remember back when they were, they were never common, but back before they were extinct. But the survival rate on Sterlings, you're talking, there's
like Yugo level.
Possibly less than Yugo level. Like, I would maybe half.
I can find Yugo parts.
Like maybe 0.5% of them are roadworthy of those 33,000.
Holy cow.
But of those 33,000, about 27,000 were the 825s, and about, 7,000 were the 827s, which are the better cars. And of those, about 1,000 of them were the fastbacks, which those are cool cars. And I've actually seen a couple of those. And of those 1,000 fastbacks, about 150 of them were manuals.
Golly.
And of those 150, I think there's probably like 5 left roadworthy. And the reason that number's high is because it was enthusiasts that would own a fastback manual.
It's like about the same number as the Peugeot 505, and if you posted one on Craigslist, you still wouldn't find a buyer.
I got data on those too.
I don't want. Nobody cares.
Me,
I care.
Nobody cares. All right,
Next question.
Mark. Last question.
Sean
Pick a good
Peter.
one.
Dan, if you could own a personal aircraft, which one would you own and why?
Oh, that's a good question.
a personal. Does he mean if I could own any airplane? Because that's a tough one.
Doesn't matter. Just
like money, no object.
sure. Money has to not be an object to own a plane.
That's true. Money, no object. You got to go with a Cold War era Russian fighter because you can actually buy those.
Do they come with bombs?
They're not supposed to. There's some interesting stories, though, of aircraft getting imported by people and being confiscated because they have stuff on them they shouldn't have. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, generally in the U.S., you aren't allowed to, as a private person, own a American-built like combat jet aircraft, which is why a lot of the ones you see flying at air shows as warbirds were not American-built. Like F-86 Sabres, most of the ones flying are Canadian. But yeah, there's weird laws and stuff, and it takes a lot to actually own one.
All right.
And it's usually not non-profit companies and stuff like that.
Well, let's tally the final score here before we wrap up. Dan, there's the score for everybody. Dan has 13. The internet has 5. Mark has 1.5. Ed 1. Chris has an honorable mention. Lotus -1. Doug 3.5. Carbon has a blue ribbon +1. So Dan smoked everybody. There was probably 30 or 40 questions we didn't have time to get to. But if you want to ask Dan your nerdy questions, you can find him on Instagram at Aero108.
AERO108.
That's it.
That's me.
On Facebook, Dan Doucet. He's got a couple of VinWiki stories buried in the archive, so check him out there. So feel free to ask away your questions. Dan will be happy to answer.
No, there's a few comments, too, that I saw that I actually will reply to the people because they had some pretty interesting stuff. And some very detailed ones that I do have numbers for.
Gotcha. Well, I apologize we couldn't get to all of them, but we are constrained by time here. So, keep you wanting more, so you'll come back next time. So, anyway, thank you, Dan, for
You're welcome.
being on.
Thank you for having me.
Glad we got to do this, and I have some more of my own questions anyway, especially regarding that teal-green Diablo that I'm trying to buy. But that was not owned by Donald Trump, but... Anyway, oh gosh, I forgot the prop and the flop of the week. Hold on a second.
Then, question of the week.
Pause the
jump
music.
into all that.
Whatever. We'll just pick one and send the guy a T-shirt. Prop of the week. Arnie got his E63 back. The Angry Ursula 2725 world record car got run over by a truck, and it was sent out. It was bought back from the auction, who stripped it of all the good parts. And then it was sent out to Foreign Builds to mesh with another car and make it a complete one again. So he got it back. It is running, driving, and complete and in Arnie's hands. So I don't know what the plans are next with that, but it is alive again. So we're very, very happy about that. The flop of the week. Hyundai and Kia are telling owners of almost 500,000 cars and SUVs in the U.S. to park outside and away from buildings due to a possible defect that can cause the vehicles to spontaneously catch fire even when they're not running. The problem is that due to foreign contaminants, the anti-lock brake computer control module can short circuit and possibly start a fire in the engine compartment. All right, well, that's why I don't buy Korean cars. But anyway, okay, back to our outro here. Thank you, Dan, for being on. Thank you all for watching and being here with us. We appreciate you as our viewers and listeners and participants every week. Thank you to our sponsors, GT Vault, Boxcast, Switchcars, Celebrity Machines, and Stephen Holm Woodworking. And thank you to our producer and call screener, Ethan Huffnagel. Our bumper music was provided by Emily and Ivory. You can stream their full album on Spotify or SoundCloud. This episode will be available Friday in audio format wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday with a new guest at 8 p.m., and we'll look forward to answering your questions to help you on the drive of your life.